Righto, quick one because it's late and I just want to pump out a quick one about facts and expertise. Facts, you can rip off the internet and they can be 100% correct and anyone can sort of access independent, true facts. Expertise is something you earn over time that's tested, kind of reviewed by your peers and involves genuinely engaging in learning and understanding sophisticated things about issues, topics, solutions, whatever. It's easy to say a correct fact. It's hard to have expertise, it's hard to have knowledge. So the example that springs to mind, because it's kind of topical at the moment, Bill Gates could stand in front of a room and say, sexual assault is bad. And that's absolutely correct. We can't say, no, that's not correct, Bill. Shut up, because it's correct. But Bill Cosby is not the person we should listen to about how to deal with the problem of sexual assault for obvious reasons. Now, at the moment, and there's kind of like this happens in various industries and at various times, all kinds of things pop up. At the moment, I see a lot of people that lead in with mental health issues are real and people don't get good support or their support is inadequate or whatever. And, you know, there's a true fact, yeah, mental health issues are real and we should improve the supports around people for mental health issues. However, if the person saying that, bit of a jerk or someone that's really not done anything in the space or paid any attention or, you know, got any knowledge in that space, then maybe we don't need to listen to them about the solutions and how to deal with it and all of these sorts of things that come with that discussion. Much the same way that if someone was like, oh, fitness is really important, it's great to be fit and healthy and strong, and you go, true fact, absolutely. But I probably don't want to listen to someone who's never done any kind of fitness before, regardless of how much Googling they've done. I probably want to listen to someone who's got a bit of skin in the game, who knows what they're talking about, who's been doing it a long time, and has built up a sophisticated level of expertise in that area. If someone says, oh, businesses need more support during lockdown, you go, yeah, that's a true fact for a lot of people. They would agree. I would agree. But if you're someone who's left a trail of ripped off people in your wake, then maybe you're not the person to listen to about how to support businesses during a tough time, seeing as you've been the cause of tough times for many other businesses and individuals in your life. So the difference between a true fact and expertise is becoming more and more important as I see videos where people are doing this thing, I'm going to call it fact loading, where they lead in to their videos or their content with a couple of things that are kind of like universally true or that people agree with. So say, oh, mental health issues are real. You know, poor people are having a really tough time of it around the world, and child sex trafficking is terrible. And so anyway, that's why, you know, there's this new world order going on and the Illuminati and all doctors are paid by big pharma and it's all wild and I've got this great insight and I know what's going on. And, you know, if you don't pay attention, you're a sheep. And if you don't know what's going on, I can't believe you haven't opened your eyes yet and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, you kind of fact loaded your video by saying a couple of things people aren't going to disagree with. Yeah, mental health issues are real. Yeah, you know, poor people get a really bad run at the moment and should be supported better. And yeah, child sex trafficking is a terrible thing. But none of that has anything to do with the rest of the stuff you're talking about, which usually is then followed up with like, by the way, guys, for our independent thinking, for our free thinking, you know, forum or whatever, you got to contribute. You got to give us money or else we can't do it. We can't fight this enemy on our own. And I just think, how are people falling for this stuff? You've got this crazy kind of like beg for money at the end, which is always like a sign of just like a red flag. Like if there's ever a red flag on some outrageous claim, it's the asking for cash at the end of it. But you've led in with these kinds of, you can't argue with truth loading situation. You've gone on a bunch of stuff that's miles outside of your expertise. And you might say, oh, I've been Googling this stuff for ages or whatever. But, you know, generally it's people with another string of failed investments or business things, or, you know, you Google them and they've got 12 lawsuits because people are suing them because they've ripped them off and all this kind of stuff. And you go, okay, well, if they know everything and they're these free independent thinkers, like where does that leave expertise as a thing? And when you engage in that kind of material, you're attacking the institution of expertise, not just individual things. You're trying to take away, or, you know, explicitly or implicitly, from the institution of being an expert, which is a terrible thing to do because we need experts. We 100% need experts. And if you want to be a free thinker or an independent thinker, if I dial it back a little bit, and I think, okay, you want to be a free thinker, totally independent. So let's say you want to learn everything from scratch on your own. Well, that's cool, but you're going to be 200,000 years behind everybody at that point because, you've got to forget language and maths, and you've got to forget about food, and you've got to forget about agriculture. You're definitely physics, that's off the table, and all this sort of stuff. And you have to work it out independently, freely, on your own. Well, that's ridiculous. You're not going to do that. You haven't done that. You're not as free and independent as you think you are. So where are you getting your information from? Are you getting it from a body of people who are on the hook for embracing and assessing changes in ideas and developments in knowledge? Or are you following like a couple of independent people with no real skin in the game who have got this kind of magical claim to insight? And those people have always existed, don't get me wrong. They've, burn your belly fat doing this. Oh, the Illuminati are doing this. Oh, George Washington's an alien. Oh, whatever. There's a million things. But if you think that somehow it's easier to trick an entire industry, tens of thousands of independent people doing, verifying each other's work all over the world, if you think it's easier to trick and manipulate that than to just have a handful of people who claim to be going against the grain, free thinking, whatever, I don't know what to tell you, but that's not the case. It's a lot easier to just get a couple of people to break out for attention seeking, and do they have a history of attention seeking behaviors? Do they have a history of jumping on trends and trying to make money out of them? Yes, usually yes. Almost invariably yes. And they get attention, and so I get it, I understand. It's, there's an allure to that. But if you take away from the institution of knowledge, education, sophistication, and expertise, then we are all worse off for it, because that attacks everything, like medicine, to physics, to cars, to the internet, the phone that you use to sit in front of your truck and make these videos about how everything's corrupt and everything's all broken. So I just have these concerns. I just think we need to really separate out the difference between saying something that's true and having a true fact, which is great, and then actually being someone we should listen to about that particular thing. We should listen to doctors. Generally speaking, we should listen to doctors about medical stuff, for instance. In every field, though, there's people that aren't very good, of course. In every field, there's people that are corrupt, of course. But just because there are outlier examples like that doesn't mean the whole system is cooked or that we should throw it all away. Sometimes a system isn't working as well as it should because of the inputs. The political system's a good one. We've got a pretty great democratic system here. It's not working. I don't think that you would say the federal government is doing a great job, but it's not because government is a terrible thing. But if you put the wrong inputs in, i.e. the wrong people, then yes, it can be a bit disappointing and not really function as well as it could. If you put the right ones in, it can function amazingly well and do great things, which we've also seen. So we don't need to constantly throw the baby out with the bathwater, but to pay attention for a long time and keep people on the hook. Learn ourselves, put a bit of pressure on ourselves to learn and develop and grow and understand more. So if you really care about something, read a book, read 10, talk to people who know, get involved in a verified sort of long-term, long vision community to develop your understanding and get that expertise. And then maybe it's you in a position where you can sort of talk about solutions and development opportunities and things like that. Science changing is not a weakness of science, it's a strength, because it's constantly evolving with new knowledge and new testing and new inputs, which is great. What doesn't evolve in any kind of meaningful, accountable way is lunatics on the internet, basically. Lunatics on the internet can say whatever they want and then disappear when it all goes wrong, or they're wrong because obviously they're just lunatics on the internet. And they can have a video with 12 things that are incorrect, and you go, that's not right. And then they go, yeah, but what about child sex trafficking is terrible? And you go, well, yeah, that's correct, but that's one thing out of, you've just said 20 other things that are totally wrong. We easily can prove them as incorrect. But I don't know, it all just gets lost in the big mush of it all. So don't keep attacking the institution of expertise. It's incredibly important. Be careful about who you listen to about solutions and knowledge and development, because if people haven't got any skin in the game, they can say whatever they want. If they're not accountable, they can say whatever they want. And the people that have spent 10, 15, 20, 30 years on a subject, developing and growing and learning and engaging on that subject, look, 99 times out of 100, they know more. And that's great. And we should respect that, because if we ever want to be respected for our own expertise in any space, we should respect the expertise of others and be grateful that people have put the time in to learn about all this stuff, so that, you know, we get the best of that knowledge. So be wary of people who've got true facts as also being experts as well. We can all say true facts, but have a look at what they've been doing for the last 10, 15, 20 years. And if they've been doing it, learning, developing, growing, absolutely, let's listen to them. Let's bring them into the conversation. But if they've just jumped on a bandwagon and just saying some stuff that's kind of universally true to get attention, let's stop sharing that around, because we don't need more of that in the space. If people are inspired and they see something and think, oh, I'm so, you know, you're right, I've seen people struggle with their mental health, I'm really excited about it, I want to learn, and they want to go on that journey of learning, great. Do your apprenticeship, do your time, learn some stuff, engage with materials and people. But don't just jump in because there's something that's true. Oh, fitness, I did it for a week, now I'm an expert. Oh, I ate some good food, my tummy felt better, I'm now a gut expert. Oh, I saw someone that was sick and now I know everything about illnesses and who needs a doctor? You know, doctors don't know what's going on. And I saw a homeless person, now I get it, I totally understand. I want to start doing all this stuff about trying to solve homelessness immediately. Not to learn about how to solve homelessness, not to see what's out there, not to develop an understanding, but I've got an idea. I saw it, I've got an idea immediately, boom, straight into it. I mean, it might get attention for a little while, but in the end, we're all worse off if we keep attacking that institution of expertise and sophistication and understanding and paying attention for the long term. So more of that, less of the sitting in the front seat of, you know, a pickup truck and screaming about how the Illuminati is coming to do whatever it is they say they're going to do. And hopefully, in the long term, we can lessen the number of hyper voices in the space that are just raising everyone's emotion and anxieties and making people, in the end, feel pretty terrible and then asking for money. And we can rely more on wonderful people who are putting the time and effort in behind the scenes to learn, develop, understand, be better. They're the people. We want more of those. We want more people doing that, less people just screaming and yelling about random things, and I think we'll all be better off for it. So look after each other, learn more, read a book, read 10, pay attention, and of course, just be nice.